Hello, everyone. My name is Blake from Blake and Vish Sports. Joining with me today is sports statistician Nick Nassos. And in this week's edition of our betting guide, we are going to do a Week 11 recap, our Week 12 game picks and matchups, 3 best bets, 2 games to stay away from, our 1 moonshot from each of us, and our own locks for the week.
Get started with last week's recap. So last week we had Carolina minus 1.5, and this actually switched to Detroit minus 3 right before the game, but it still hit with Carolina being led by quarterback PJ Walker. Tennessee had a late game winning or a late drive to send the game to overtime against the team they played, and obviously once you're in overtime you can't lose by more than 6 points unless there's a pick six after a field goal. So Tennessee also covered their spread. And the KC Las Vegas game was the night game last week, and that over hit 56.5 near the end of the game with 2 last-minute touchdowns. The Miami lost to Denver, unfortunately, and New England lost to the Texans. But overall, we went 3-2 last week, which is still very good.
All right, so for this week's edition of the games, the first one is the 3-7 Houston Texans are going to be playing against the 4-6 Detroit Lions. The Lions are going to be playing in their annual Thanksgiving Day as they look to push for a potential wild card, while the Texans are third in the AFC South and are just playing for pride at this point.
Next, on Thanksgiving, we have the Washington football team, who is sitting at 3-7. They'll be taking on their division rival, the Dallas Cowboys, also sitting at 3-7. Dallas plays every year on Thanksgiving, and the football team and Cowboys are both fighting to be the winner of the NFC East as Zeke faces off against the football's stout defense.
Next game we got is the 6-4 Baltimore Ravens versus the 10-0 undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. The undefeated Steelers are looking to hold the number 1 seed in the AFC away from the Chiefs as the Ravens are playing for a wild card spot. This should be a really good game, and it's the Thursday night Thanksgiving Day game.
Next, we get to the Sunday games. We have the Chargers sitting at 3-7. They will be taking on the Buffalo Bills, who are opposite, 7-3. Young QBs Herbert and Josh Allen face off as the Bills look to pull away in the AFC East.
Next game we got is the 7-3 Titans against the 7-3 Colts. The Titans and Colts are rematching from that Thursday night game a few weeks ago, and both are looking for that top spot in the AFC South. It wasn't very close last time, but this week will certainly be different as both teams are coming off huge wins against potential playoff teams.
The Carolina Panthers are 4-7 and still without Christian McCaffrey. They'll be taking on the 4-6 Minnesota Vikings. Carolina is looking to take down another NFC North team in the Vikings after last week's impressive performance versus the Lions.
The 7-3 Cleveland Browns will be going against the 1-9 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are looking to end their dreadful losing streak against the Browns, who are coming off a win against the Eagles, and the Browns are in that spot where they're really fighting for playoff contention, so this should be a good one.
Next, we have the New York Giants, who are 3-7 against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 2-7-1, the game after Joe Burrow tore his ACL. The Giants, who still have a shot to win their division, look to take down the Bengals, who will be led by Brandon Allen, with Ryan Finley as the backup.
The Arizona Cardinals are 6-4, and they're going to be facing off against Bill Belichick and the 4-6 New England Patriots. Kyler Murray looks to take down Cam Newton in this matchup, facing 2 quarterbacks who love to tuck the ball and run.
Miami is 6-4. They'll be taking on the defeated Jets, who are 0-10. Tua is coming off a rough loss versus Denver and hopes to boost his confidence with a win against the winless Jets.
The Las Vegas Raiders are 6-4, and they're going to be playing against the Atlanta Falcons, who are 3-7. Derek Carr and Matt Ryan are 2 traditional gunslingers who will face off in this matchup. We could see this going either way, and the Raiders just came off a tough, crushing loss against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night.
Next, we have the Saints, who are sitting at the top of the NFC at 8-2. They will be taking on Denver, who is 4-6. Taysom and the explosive Saints look to push for a top spot in the NFC, while the Broncos are coming off an impressive win against the Dolphins last week.
The San Francisco 49ers are currently 4-6, and they're going to be playing against the Los Angeles Rams, who are 7-3. The Rams are looking to continue their hot streak as they play divisional rival 49ers, who are still riddled with injuries. Don't let the records fool you. This will be a good game.
The Kansas City Chiefs are currently sitting at 9-1. They're taking on Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 7-4. Patrick Mahomes looks to take over as the face of the NFL as he faces off with an all-time great in Tom Brady.
The Sunday night game is going to be the 5-5 Chicago Bears against the 7-3 Green Bay Packers. This should be a great game. It's one of the most storied rivalries. Matt LaFleur is looking to continue his impressive streak of never losing 2 straight games as he takes on the rival Chicago Bears, who have been on a cold streak the last few weeks.
We wrap up Week 12 with a Monday night game between the 7-3 Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 3-6-1, still sitting at the top of their division. Wilson faces off against Wentz as a rematch of last year's divisional playoff match, as both teams are fighting to win their divisions. That wraps up Week 12. You can look at our picks right here, and now we're going to get into our best bets for this week.
All right, so our first best bet is going to be the Arizona Cardinals to cover the spread of -2.5. So some of the reasoning behind this pick is the Patriots offense has been very, very inconsistent. Some weeks against Seattle, they'll come out really well, and then other weeks they'll just look horrible. And one of the reasons for this is the new quarterback play, and it hasn't been as good. So this year, the Patriots have the least amount of passing touchdowns, whether that's been Cam Newton or Jared Stidham at the helm. They've struggled in that department. Also, turnovers. They're 23rd in turnovers, so they're in the bottom half of the league. They're not winning the turnover battle, and that's a few reasons we think the Cardinals will cover the spread.
Also, Arizona is very good at controlling the ball on the ground and in the air. Arizona has Kenyon Drake at running back, who's above average, and they also have Kyler Murray, who is a dual threat. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball. He has Larry Fitzgerald to throw to. He has DeAndre Hopkins to throw to, and he also has Christian Kirk in the slot to throw to. The Cardinals have the second most rush yards this season, mostly because Kyler Murray is doing so well tucking and running the ball. And finally, the Cardinals have been great in the red zone on offense this year, and also they've been really good at defense in the red zone too. So that's why Arizona -2.5 is a very good bet to look at this week.
All right. Our next bet we got is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders at -3 to cover the spread as well. So as everyone saw on that Sunday night game against the Chiefs, they were winning, and Mahomes had that late game touchdown. So they did end up losing, but they put up a great performance for this week. When looking at the Raiders and Falcons, the Raiders offense has been pretty good with Gruden and Carr having a little resurgence this year. They're 8th in the league in points. Falcons defense has not been good this year, whether that's with Dan Quinn. They've gotten better with Raheem Morris, but still they're ranked 25th, and they've been allowing a lot of points this year.
Also, the Raiders have the best third down percentage in the league. When they get to third down, they just play at a different level. They make sure to get the first down. They do have very few 3-and-outs. They love to extend drives, and that's why they're going to do very well against the Falcons, who have the second worst red zone defense. If the Raiders get to the red zone, they aren't going to be settling for 3. They're going to be scoring touchdowns, and that's why the Raiders is a solid bet for this week.
All right, so our last bet this week that we really like is going to be the Kansas City money line. It's currently -186. We'll see if it moves. But so one of the main reasons for this was seeing Tampa Bay on primetime. They have been abysmal this year. They're currently 1-3. 2 of those losses to the Saints. They just suffered one against the Rams. Tom Brady hasn't looked the best in those games. He's thrown a lot of picks, not a lot of touchdowns. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have been polar opposite. They're 4-0 on primetime. They've been coming to play when the lights are the brightest.
Yeah, the Chiefs' offensive strength is passing, while the Buccaneers' defense is geared to stop the run. So Patrick Mahomes is easily going to be able to torch the defenders that are on the Buccaneers, because the Buccaneers are only good at stopping the run, like they did when they exposed the Packers, and now they're not going to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes just throwing the ball downfield. Also, the Chiefs' defense has created the 7 most turnovers this year, and Brady has had a lot of turnovers this season. He's throwing pick sixes, he's throwing picks left and right, and that's why the Chiefs are going to take advantage on defense as well. This is a really good game to look at this week. Now we're going to talk about some games that you should not bet on this week and that we think you should stay away from.
So the first game we're not touching with the 6-foot pole, Seahawks versus Eagles. both these teams schematically play each other really close. The last two times they faced each other, they've been one-score games. If you remember last year, they played in the wild card weekend, and that was a very close, pretty tense game. Wentz got injured, so people were really mad at Jadeveon Clowney for that. So I'm really expecting this one to be a close game.
Besides the Seahawks and Eagles game, you also need to stay away from the Thursday night game Thanksgiving against the Steelers and the Ravens. This is a division rivalry. The Steelers are undefeated. The Ravens are looking to spoil that. They hate each other. They're going to play dirty. They're going to play rough, and it's going to be a very close game. It could go either way. Stay away from that game. Now we're going to talk about some moonshot bets that you could try out this week.
Yep, so my moonshot is actually going to be those two games, the Eagles winning and then the Ravens winning. So the Eagles, they play really well as underdogs. When they're favored, it seems as though they almost crumble and get in over their heads. But when they were on primetime against the 49ers, they came out clutch in that game. I could see them playing spoiler to the Seahawks, who Russell Wilson hasn't been as good as the first half of the year. So that's interesting. And then the Ravens, they're still a really talented roster. Don't get it wrong. 6-4 is their record, but they have talent all over the field. And I'm interested to see and think Lamar could possibly pull this one off.
My moonshot is Washington and Carolina both winning their games. Washington is playing Dallas on Thanksgiving. I think Alex Smith is going to play a great game. I think he's going to love the attention Thanksgiving afternoon, and I think he's going to beat the Cowboys. Also, Carolina is coming off a huge win. They shut out Detroit with their backup quarterback, P.J. Walker. I think they're going to win again. I don't see them losing. This might not hit. That's why it's a moonshot, but I can see Washington and Carolina both winning their games this week. Now we're going to talk about locks that are guaranteed to hit.
All right, so my lock this week is going to be the Cleveland Browns beating the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New York Giants being the Bengals, who are Burrowless right now. So like I mentioned, the Giants have a pretty good D, and they're playing against Brandon Allen, and I don't know if the Bengals are really going to be going all out. They're probably going to shut down Mixon again. So I really think the Browns will come away with that one. And then the the Cleveland Browns are playing the Jaguars, who are 1-9. Chubb and Hunt is the best running back duo in the league right now, and I think they're going to run all over the Jaguars.
Okay, now let's get to my lock. My lock is the Buffalo Bills beating the Chargers and the Green Bay Packers beating the Bears. The Buffalo Bills are going to bully the Chargers. The Buffalo Bills are so much better than the Chargers. It's not even close. Josh Allen is a great quarterback. Justin Herbert's okay, but that team cannot win. Josh Allen knows how to win football games, and that's what he's going to do. The Green Bay Packers have not lost 2 straight under Matt LaFleur, and they're playing the Bears. They hate the Bears. They're going to bully the Bears. The Bears suck. The Bears are going to lose to the Green Bay Packers because Aaron Rodgers is going to bully them.
All right, so that's going to wrap up this week's edition of our betting guide. Come back for next week to get the recap as well as our Week 13 predictions. Stay smart, bettors.